Keeping your fish tank clean is very important for the health of your fish. You will need to carry out daily as well as bi-weekly maintenance for the tank. In this video, you will find out what tools you need for cleaning your tank and for measuring its temperature and chemical levels. You will learn how to properly care for your fish, including feeding, environment, and physical health. All of the tools you need can be found at your local pet store for a very reasonable price. First, you will need a siphon to do the water changes and clean the rocks. This can be a manual one, or one that attaches to your sink. You will also need a glass scraper that is on a long enough stick to reach all of the glass. You will need test kits for pH levels, nitrate, ammonia, and water hardness. You can buy these kits together or separate. The first step in daily maintenance of your tank is proper feeding. Overfeeding is a major health concern for fish and should be avoided at all costs. When you feed your fish, supply only what they will eat immediately. Food that does not get eaten ends up on the tank floor and adds to the waste. The next step is checking the water temperature. This is easily done with a stick-on thermometer that sits on the outside of the tank. The ideal temperature range for a freshwater tank with tropical fish is 77 to 83 degrees. Make sure to keep a log of your findings so that you can easily pick out any abnormalities in temperature. If you find your temperature isn't ideal for the fish, simply raise the heater and check again soon to see if there is improvement in the water. Algae buildup is something to look out for on a daily basis. The best solution for this is to buy a Plecostomus, or some sort of algae-eating fish. These guys will keep your tank free of any algae, and all you need is one. If this is not an option, you can buy an algae magnet from your local pet store. It is important to keep an eye on your fish daily. Look for any abnormalities in their physical state or in the way that they are behaving. If a fish is swimming somewhat on its side, erratically, or less than it usually does, this could be a sign of illness or a problem with the water. Check your temperature and your chemical logs to see if there is an abnormality. If you can't see the problem and it continues, you can take a sample of the water to your pet store and they should be able to help you. Check your fish's bodies for abnormalities, sores in their skin, or rotting fins. These are signs of disease, and proper medication should be applied immediately. Now for the bi-weekly maintenance. Since you have a large fish tank, it is important never to empty all of the water. The reason for this is because your tank is always in a fragile state of being, and it takes weeks and sometimes longer to establish a proper ecosystem. But the water will get dirty, no matter how great your filtration system is. The first step of cleaning is to use your siphon. When you are siphoning out dirty water, you are really mulling around in the rocks to clean up the waste that is packed in between them. The next step is to fill the tank back up. It's a good idea to keep a small bucket for water on hand for this task. If your siphon hooks up to the sink, you should be able to use that. Slowly pour the water in, and try to avoid any fish. Your fish are bound to get stressed out by this whole process, so it is best to try and avoid them as much as possible. If there is any waste left floating around, try not to worry. This waste will settle and wait there for the next cleaning. The next thing you want to do is check your tank's pH levels, total hardness levels, nitrate levels, ammonia levels, and temperature. Keep your log handy while doing this so that you can keep track of your findings. You want your pH levels to sit at a constant. There is no specific desired level. What your fish need is a constant level, so try to keep the levels at 7. Any lower and you run the risk of putting your fish in danger. The main cause of fluctuating pH levels would be a buildup of phosphate, either on the filter or in the waste which settles in the rocks. This is why it is so important to clean the rocks when you are doing your bi-weekly water change. The new water you add helps the pH levels stabilize. Make sure to change the filter pads in your filter once a month. Doing so will decrease the levels of phosphate buildup. The degree of water hardness relates to the amount of dissolved minerals in the water, especially calcium and magnesium. You want to avoid having water that measures too soft or too hard. An acceptable read of water hardness would be 135 parts per million to 200 parts per million. If you are having trouble with hard water, you can boil it until it reaches the proper reading. If your water is too soft, you can filter it through live coral. The best way to regulate water hardness is with oxygen. This is achieved by the air pump or live plants in your aquarium. When fish make wastes, plants deteriorate and food rots, the resulting waste does not just disappear. The waste, in the form of nitrogen compounds, is broken down into other compounds by bacteria. This will sit in your tank until you remove it through siphoning. Ammonia poisoning is one of the biggest killers of aquarium fish. It occurs most often when a tank is newly set up. It can also occur in an established tank when too many new fish have been added at one time. Ammonia poisoning can also occur when the filter fails, either from a power outage or mechanical problems. The use of some medications or a sudden change in water temperature can also affect the ammonia levels. Finally, you must check the temperature. As well as doing this daily, you want to check it shortly after you add new water. If the temperature drops dramatically, turn your heater up a little bit to compensate. Don't forget to turn the heater back down once your tank reaches the proper temperature. This bi-weekly water change, while stressful to the fish, is extremely important to all aspects of your fish's health. These simple steps will greatly increase the happiness and health of your tank's community, and is well worth it in the end. In this video, we covered the tools you will need for your tank's maintenance. We reviewed daily maintenance and proper feeding techniques. You should be able to spot the warning signs that your fish may be in danger. We covered bi-weekly water change and maintenance, as well as the very important check for chemicals and water temperature. Following these instructions will ensure that your fish live a happy and healthy life.